Football fans, Gooners, welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal. I am your host, Shotta, and next door to me virtually is my good friend and my expert, Blackburn George. How you doing, George?
Better every week.
George, before we go into the meat of the moment, of the meat of the matter, just want to remind people, we encourage you to make your comments. You did not respond very well last time, except for one person. Make your comments on the podcast, and a few comments over by your blog, George. Not by mine. That would be expected, given my numbers. But please make this. We respect and we like and we appreciate the feedback. Make this worthwhile for us. And that commercial moment, moving right along, George. Sweet revenge at home versus Newcastle in November. They beat us in the death by a dubious goal, to say the least. But yesterday we strangled them in the first half. Was the best word I could. We virtually won the match in the first half, regardless of what the overall stats says, and I will share that with you later. Do you agree with my sentiments, George?
Yeah, the manner of defeat at St James's Park was horrible. Basically, we were cheated, but we were only cheated out of a draw. We weren't cheated out of a win. They strangled us at St James's Park in a different way. I mean, they were very negative,
yes,
and they doubled and trebled up on Saka and Martinelli, which at the time I said other people would copy, and they did.
Mm-hmm. And all they did is free up Odegaard, George, and it has been.
Yeah, well, he's made some tactical changes. Saka and Martinelli played a little bit more inside, which left space behind them for Kior and Ben White to take, which meant that they had to cover that. And there was sometimes three of them on Saka, which left spaces everywhere for Odegaard and Declan Rice, who was rampaging forward. And we had such control with Jorginho at the base of everything. Yes. And it was tactically, well, I hesitate to say masterclass, but there was a problem when people were doubling up and trebling up on Saka and Martinelli, and he's come up and he found a solution. Right. And that's what good managers do. You find solutions to problems, because every manager in the league is a good manager. There's no bad managers, and they can see weaknesses in our team. And when somebody comes up with something that negates us, the other managers see that and copy it. And it's up to the team then to come up with a different solution. And we did, and we have, and we've looked a lot better for it since the absence of Jesus, shall I say. But what worries me is when he's fit, will he come back in, and will we try to persevere with Havertz back in the Xhaka role, which doesn't seem to work as well. So we'll just have to see what happens when he comes back and he's fit. And similarly, Zinchenko, we're not missing him.
Nope.
He was supposed to be undroppable. You know, he was key to the team, and so was Jesus. And now I'm not even sure they get in the team if we're picking out 11.
Yeah. Well, horses for courses, he might choose them for certain games. George, I want to share with you the overall stats, and then the first and second half. I know you have them already. Let me see if I can bring them up. What is it doing? Oh, I know what I need to do. Yes, George. So this is the first half stats. Let me get rid of the banner. I need to get rid of the banner because the banner obscures. And but what I want to show is it gives impression, and you can see it says all highlighted. that the margins were not that wide. I mean, 55% possession by 45% possession is a 10% point gap, which is an eternity in football. But Georgia shows we had 18 shots to their third, three, 8 shots on target. They only had two shots on target, Joe, with George, which is 100% more than the last three teams we played. And so, it would look as if it was, we dominated, but actually, and I'll just use this just to get rid of this. The match was won in the second half, and I'll add to stage. Correct. The match was won in the second half, George. In the first half, I'm sorry, when we had 63% possession to their 37%, 11 shots of the 18. They had 0 shots on target, and we had 4 shots on target, and we're 2 goals up by the second half. I don't need to show any more. I think the point is made, isn't it?
0 expected goals for them.
Yes, in the first half, 0.
And it was a humbling for them. It really was. I mean,
they were shell shocked. They were making mistakes. I mean, I saw Sarr not knowing what to do and just turn over the ball. And I think Havertz should have scored on that occasion. I think it was Havertz. But go ahead, George.
But yeah, they didn't know whether it was New York or New Year. We had them spinning, and I think it would demoralise them. But in the second half, we sat back more, and it was more of an even game. It was still very much tilting out. But as I keep saying, week after week, month after month, year after year, you cannot play like that for 90 minutes.
Intensity.
With that intensity for 90 minutes. No team can. Yes. It's just not possible.
And he did the right thing, George. He did the right thing by telling them to sit back.
Absolutely, he did the right thing. Mm-hmm. He didn't wear us out, and then we got 2 more goals, and then he made changes. He took some key players off, rested them for the last 15, 20 minutes. Again, the right thing. And you have people complaining that we weren't as good in the last 15, 20 minutes after he made the changes. Well, no, because they're not first-choice players, and we were already content sitting back and foot was off the pedal. I don't know what people expect, really. Yeah. We were fantastic yesterday. Absolutely brilliant. As we have been for the last 4 or 5 games, apart from the Champions League on Wednesday, which was shockingly bad.
Yes, I saw your comments on Twitter. George, by the way, I promised to watch it, and despite all the different the providers that I pay money to, they showed me Barcelona versus the team from Italy. It was pissed me off so badly. But anyway, but I read the reports. I saw the goals actually, and the goal. Because of course when the game were over, they show our goal. The goal by Porto. But I read your report and you said it was a horrible game. You are beginning to have doubts as to whether we were the real deal or not. Do you still persist with your opinion that we are going to be there in the runnings at the end of the season?
Yes. He got it wrong. Mm-hmm. He got it wrong. He went too negative, too containing, and thought that we would just grind out either a draw or maybe get a goal or 2 if things went super right for us. But we didn't try and win that game. Mm-hmm. And a few disasters defensively at the end, and you end up 1-0 down. We were the better team, control-wise, but Mikel just had a bad night, and the team had a bad night, and that's sport, I was trying to say to a friend of mine the other day, people complain that, you have a bad game and that means you're not that good. Sport doesn't work like that. If the best players always won, then Roger Federer would have won every tennis tournament he entered for 15 years. Ronnie O'Sullivan would have won every snooker tournament he entered for the last 20 years. Phil Taylor would have won every darts competition that he played in for 20 years. That's not how sport works. You don't play at your best every time you play, and you have off games, and so do managers. Managers get tactics right, and managers get tactics wrong. And I think we made a mistake, and it's not terminal. We're only 1-0 down, and they'll have been watching that yesterday and thinking, "Oh my God, what's going to come when we get to the Emirates?" Because you can bet your life that's what we'll be doing when we play Porto. We'll be going for them from the first whistle, and they'll have to cope with that pressure, and they won't get all the fouls and stoppages that they got at Porto. So
yes.
But
anyway, talking about going after them in the first whistle, that was impressed me about yesterday's game. Do you realize we got a shot off in the first 30 seconds and then 2 corners before a minute was up, George? I mean, this was we wanted to make a point, I guess, after Porto. We went after them immediately, and it paid rich dividends eventually.
Well, it did play rich dividends, and it looked inevitable as well. I mean, it never at any point looked like they could come back into the game and change the course of it. And obviously they didn't. But it's a huge credit to the team that they can play as poorly as they did on Wednesday and come back on Saturday and play like that. You know, it's because, as they say, like, confidence is very brittle, isn't it? It's difficult to build up and easy to break down. But they didn't come back with the tail between the legs. They came back with the tails up. So all good, I'd say, for us going forward in the league. Because, let's get it right. At the end of the day, I think most of us would rather win the league than even the Champions League.
Oh, I'm sure the fans are, us fans are, waiting for that moment. But George, our rivals keep winning. I mean, Manchester City won yesterday 4-1. Liverpool only won 4-1 in the week. It's not going to be easy. And
Manchester City only won 1-0, didn't they?
No, they beat the team yesterday 4-1. Because I checked the results. I can check it, George, while you're talking. But where, in your opinion, where will we be? I mean, how competitive? How much of a chance do we have of winning the title? Let's put it out.
I think, like I said last week, I think we have a good chance. I think it could basically boil down to how well we do at Manchester City.
Yes.
Probably the most difficult ground to go to in Europe now.
I should never have doubted. By the way, George, I should never have doubted you. It was 1-0 over Bournemouth.
Yeah, and they struggled, by the way.
Yeah.
They struggled. So I think we have a good chance. If Jesus stays injured.
He'll be tempted to bring him back in because he paid so much money.
We will bring him back in. We will bring him back in.
And he's the number one. But Kai, I'm going to bring up the player stats, but Kai played well. I mean, he took his goal well. He should have scored at least 2.
2 more.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a different position. Well, I'm going to say it's a different position. It's not really, because Jesus is anything but a number 9. You know, he's never where he should be between the sticks, is he? So it's a case of, does his skill on the ball and trickery compensate for Havertz's effort and aerial power and simplicity?
Yes. I think that's perhaps what. Yes.
Well, because it's
simplifies the whole game. Yes.
It's chalk and cheese. Havertz keeps everything simple, keeps possession of the ball, makes spaces by running, not running to get the ball and running with the ball. It's the total opposite to Jesus. And like I said the other day, on the face of it, watching the two of them, you would say Jesus is a far better player than Havertz. But I'm not sure he gives more to the team.
Cookie objects. Cookie objects to your opinion.
Cookie disagrees. She likes Jesus.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think. And I mean, I don't know. He'll play who he plays, I suppose. I mean, it's like Jorginho. I don't understand how he's not in the team as much as possible. I just don't get it.
Maybe because he's 30-something, George, and he doesn't want to wear them.
He's never had any pace in the first place to lose. So he's not lost anything.
Yes.
That's not his skill. His skill is how quickly he reads the game, how he passes the ball, how he opens up the opposition with his. I mean, the range of his passing, they cut off the angles, so he just lobs it over the top of them.
Yeah.
And
he's a good tackler too, George. His times his tackles. How many times has he got a yellow card?
It's like he lifts the ball off the floor more than anybody else in the team. You can't cut the angles off.
Yes.
As easily when he's on the ball because he'll just lift it over the opposition. And I think we don't come third in the Ballon d'Or for nothing.
Right.
Yes. And nobody else has been anywhere near that sort of level.
But we still see people say that Partey must come in and you need him to replace him. I mean, we have since Jorginho, well, he didn't play all the games, but we have restricted teams to one, and after 4 games, Newcastle got 2 shots off.
But you look at the games that we've played outstandingly well, which was Liverpool and yesterday.
Yes.
Against good teams. Liverpool and Newcastle are decent teams.
Yes.
And Jorginho was man of the match on both occasions.
Well, speaking of that, let's bring.
Well, I was saying man of the match. He got man of the match on Sky. Yeah. And I've seen those stats, and they're fucking nonsense.
The one by who scored?
The one that you got up on the screen now.
Well, let's show the audience what the nonsense is. I mean, I can look at I hope people can see this, but they gave Bukayo Saka came is their man of the match, but for they don't seem to rate. Let's go to Jorginho. They said he is 7.01, but this guy had 109 touches for a midfielder, which is the highest, George. I'm even higher than Odegaard, who only had 41 touches. I mean, Jorginho was in the middle of everything.
He was, and it was his pass that opened up everything for the first goal.
Correct.
Not for the first goal, for the Martinelli goal. The Havertz's second goal.
The cut back by Martinelli.
Yeah, I mean, he played the ball. He saw Martinelli's run from 40 yards from where he passed him the ball.
Yes.
And it was his vision and his ability. He's a wonderful fucking player. And but he's not 6'5" and he's not black, so
Yeah.
He obviously can't be that good.
Can't be a DM, George. Doom player.
No.
George, I just gonna keep the stats up for a minute because as you say, I suppose I would agree, the stats by themselves don't say a lot, but I think Saka was brilliant. I mean, I think he was a tormented their left-sided defenders. And people don't comment on this, but one of the shots that what the guy's name is, starts with a K, the goalkeeper, the one who made shambles of Liverpool's Champions League game.
Karius, was it?
Karius. That was a right-footed shot, George. And it was. So he's a threat now with the right foot. And I recall apparently Wenger went into the dressing room when he was there and told him, you need to use that right foot some more. Apparently he's taking it to heart.
Well, it appears so, yeah. But he's getting older and he's getting more experienced and he's getting better.
Yes.
He's a wonderful player.
Yes.
And, the big debate in this because Rio Ferdinand refuses to call him world class.
Yeah.
Rio's a bad guy. Well, I say it depends on what your idea of world class is. If world class is Ronaldo and Messi at their peak, well, he's not world class.
Right.
If the world class is Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry, he's not world class.
Yes.
But he's a very, very, very good player. And he's a credit to the team and he's a credit to himself. So
his goal was well taken. Two defenders on him. He came inside and whacked it with a left foot in the far corner. And I don't blame Karius a bit. He just could not reach that goal. And
there's nothing anybody could do. He took two defenders. He flashed it right past two defenders, and they couldn't get their foot to the ball quick enough.
Yes.
And it went in the far corner. It was perfectly placed. Fabulous goal.
His corner was
fabulous player.
His corner was potent for it was an own goal.
Yeah, and he's got what is it? 8 goals now in his last 5 games or something. It's excellent.
I'm singing his praises because we were saying he was, and many of us, not just we, but saying he was tired. He looks stale. All kinds of other negative assessments, and I wanted your opinion. We in football, George.
Well, let's be honest. At the beginning of the season, he wasn't at his best.
Yes,
I think that's what a lot of people were saying. But as in everything, it's like I think Arteta had a bad day on Wednesday and a great day yesterday. Arteta. But you're not allowed to say that. You can only say he had a great day. You're not allowed to mention when he doesn't have a good day. And it's the same with Saka. You can wax lyrical about him when he has a good day, but when he has a quiet day or a poor day, you're not allowed to say anything because then you're hating on him. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, I remember.
He wasn't at his best. And he has been at his best since Christmas, but so has all the team. Right. Since that winter break, they've all come back fresher and better. So I don't see why you can't say that. Why can we not say when we played at Crystal Palace, we were fucking shit?
Yes.
And we were. Why can we not say it? We can say how brilliant we were against Liverpool, how phenomenal we were yesterday against Newcastle.
How we destroyed Burnley.
You're not allowed to say we were shit at Crystal Palace. Well, we were. Just like we were brilliant yesterday. And that's the problem with a lot of the analysis these days. They're looking for excuses for a bad performance. And the good performances are the norm as they want to see it. They only see deviations positively. They never look at a negative deviation as if that's sport and we need to do something about it. We need to cut those bad days out. Because if we don't win the league, and we're not favourites, but we're in with a chance, if we don't win the league, the main reason will be that spell we had in December.
True.
It's as simple as that. That'll be why we don't win it, because we had that bad spell in December for no apparent reason.
Right. I hope that Sheffield will be going away to Sheffield United next week. Is it Sheffield United?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sheffield United, not Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield United.
But we should be able to overcome that one, shouldn't we, George?
Oh, easily, yeah. And we could further improve our goal difference and goals scored.
39 is a goal difference higher than the other two teams, by the way,
Yeah.
George. I mean, that turnaround.
It is. It's both of them, both goals for and goals against, are soaring in the right direction this last month and a half.
More, I mean, as fans, it is more than enough reasons to be happy. Like, the one thing I saw was criticism, as you said, because by the 70th or so minute after the fourth goal, Arteta got rid of his primary starters except for the two main defenders. That these people are quarreling. I don't get it. But football emotions are fickle, and there are people who prey on these fickle emotions. That's my take on it.
Well, it's a game of emotion, isn't it? That's why we're all in it. That's why we all support football, for the emotions it gives.
Yeah, the joy, right?
Or the pain, even.
Yeah, but there are people who profit from exploiting your emotions. That's just my experience in doing Arsenal over the years. There's people who profit from, exaggerating, and the chicken little thing, the sky is falling in, or criticizing the coach. He's not just criticizing, ripping him as useless.
Yeah, I mean, I remember them section of the fans at the Emirates singing to Arsene Wenger, "You don't know what you're doing." I mean,
yeah. Or, well, they could have said that about Arteta. They didn't want to, but after is it nearly 200 games, George? He is, the guy is at least he is not only just more not just competent, but more confident in what he's doing. And if you notice, he's more serene on the sidelines. He's not, coaching as much as he used to in the frenetic way he used to.
No, well, maybe that's because they're doing more of what he wants them to do more of the time, and he doesn't have to tell them.
Exactly.
I mean, again, I'll go back to Arsene Wenger. You very rarely see him get off his seat. Mm-hmm. But when he did, it was because they were doing something that needed to have a word.
Yes.
And Arteta's probably moving towards that. I mean, he's never going to sit down and watch quietly, is he?
No, he's too much of a player. You know.
But the thing is, all the things that we said at the beginning, the mistakes he made, or that I feel he made, he does appear to have learned from them.
Yes.
And the tactical mistakes that he made in the past, he appears to have learned from them. When he gets out-coached, next time he plays that team, he's thought of an answer.
Yes.
And he's getting better. And that's great, because I think he's always been very clever. I mean, I always, from the very, very, very start, thought he was superbly astute on how the game should be played. Yeah. But it was just the implementation that he struggled with at the beginning. But he's not struggling with it now. And I think last year, when we found ourselves in the position we did, we were also taken aback.
At what point? At what point, George?
About this time last year, when we were 5 or 8 points clear, you think, "Wow, how have we got here?" We couldn't quite understand how it had come about. But now you look at the team, how it plays, how it defends and attacks, and can change. Like you said, the two halves yesterday, he sent them out in the second half with a completely different plan. And they executed that equally as well as they had executed the plan in the different plan in the first half.
Yeah.
It shows a development that, and the patterns of play that were so robotic and so monotonous early on are now more fluent, and he adjusts them more. They're not as rigid, as static, as fixed.
Yes.
And everything about Arteta's on the improve, just like the team. And I don't think we've ended up. I don't think we're where we are. I don't think we are where we'll end up. I think this team and Arteta still has improvement in him that we can afford.
Still young.
Yeah.
One last point. We pretty much reached we're self-appointed limit, but I think he has added a dimension. He's not the first one, but the free kick coaches is the free set piece coaching gotten us a lot of goals, George, and I can't deny it. We poo-pooed it, but I mean, yesterday they came with a plan. Most of the corner kicks were near post, gave Newcastle a lot of trouble because the headed balls, the glance balls behind caused havoc. And the set piece coach got a lot of prominence on the TV yesterday after the fourth goal, after Saka's goal, because it was a masterful corner kick. But he has given that guy license, and it has worked. You want to make a comment?
That's credit to him as well, and I think you also have to appreciate how much better. Again, I said this last week. We are since Declan Rice started delivering the ball from the left side.
Yes, from Martinelli's side. Martinelli used to take them.
Yeah, Martinelli or Trossard were taking them previously.
Yes.
And it's a lot better now.
That's spot on, George. I mean, if he wants to be right hand by the post, I remember the two first ones right on the post. First, the near post. He must be practicing, but they're very good corners, and Newcastle had problems with them.
Yeah. The only thing I'd like to see change now is when we have a throw in.
Yes.
Whoever has the ball, take it. I'm sick of this waiting for the bloody left back or the right back to come up. And then we fuck about and we end up giving the ball away or going nowhere with it.
Yes.
Take it quickly, even if you just throw it into space, get on with the game, because other teams are slowing us down. They come with a plan of slowing us down. And we help them by fucking this insistence that we'll have to wait till the fullbacks come to, it's like 1960s football, isn't it?
Well, it's a style in the league, George, but I have a job for you. That's why I was chuckling to myself. You will be the throwing coach. All right, George, on that note, I know you have no problems with cooking, but you got George, okay, I think we really
I'll see you next week when we've battered Sheffield United.
Yes, I run a limit here. You might be the throwing coach then. Bye, George. All the best.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, and fans, remember to make your comments. Don't forget, we really value them. Bye again, George.